patient wants a good surgeon, I want to be that good surgeon. Now, although I know if I can have a bigger impact in terms of systems improvement here at the VA, service delivery here at the VA, of course, I'd love to jump at that chance.
Commissioned in 1980, Dr. Marshall is still serving as an accomplished critical care and trauma surgeon and decorated combat veteran.
But I came here, one, because I wanted to, and the training, my training, we did rotations here at the VA Medical Center. So having the active duty experience and the reserve experience, and seeing the soldiers, I thought there would be no better job to kind of top off my career.
When Dr. Marshall isn't walking the halls of the surgical unit at the Washington, D.C. VA Medical Center, he's serving his country as the commander of the medical detachment of the D.C. National Guard.
So my first job was at Georgetown. Second job was at the University of North Carolina, which is Chapel Hill. Both great institutions. One is Georgetown's kind of more private. UNC, a state institution, and now the VA, which is a federal institution. My love for medicine comes from serving those who need it most, and then serving those who have served us makes it even better. So at UNC, which is a state hospital, and it was a great program, and the chair, Dr. Meyer, Tony Meyer, he said, our role is to serve the citizens of North Carolina. And he meant it. And and you don't always hear that. But he believed it, he instilled it in us, and he made it so. Then coming here, when the job opened up here, I knew the institution. I knew the demographics. I love serving the soldiers, and so it was kind of a no-brainer for me. I felt like I was best prepared, having a career already kind of behind me. I'm an experienced surgeon that I could bring a lot to the VA in terms of the depth and breadth of surgery that I could offer.
Dr. Marshall says when he puts on his Army surgical cap, he's paying homage to the millions of soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who came before him.
Seeing what soldiers do for us here in the States and defending our freedoms and security, going outside the wire, of which I could not go outside the wire. I'm a confirmed fobbit, if you will. But to see those soldiers go do what they do, and to know that the soldiers that we treat here have done that in conflicts over the years, from Vietnam to Korea, World War II, and other smaller conflicts, it just gives me a sense of purpose.
A native Washingtonian and graduate of Howard University Medical School, Dr. Marshall credits his love for critical care and trauma to those who taught him.
All the surgical guys at Howard inspired me to pursue a career in surgery. And they were all great guys, and so that's kind of how I got the surgery bug, if you will.
Dr. Marshall began his medical career as a commissioned officer, reluctantly of course, but with a bit of persuasion from a retired colonel, he was able to honor the wish of a man he greatly admires.
Well, my dad, actually. My dad was a retired colonel, reserve, served in the Korean War. And I played with G.I. Joe. So Vietnam came, and came and went. Just missed the draft by a couple of years. So the military was not a popular place to be. But I was entering college, and my dad asked me about ROTC. As a young man, my first impression was no. And then a year later, my dad asked me again. And I said, I don't think so. He said, son, I don't think you understand. So I said, okay. And so I went to the basic camp, earned the ROTC scholarship, fell in love with the military, and have been serving ever since.
It was during his first tour in Iraq that he got a chance to meet a special group of veterans. So one could only imagine the pride he felt when he and his unit were introduced to some of the original members of the Tuskegee Airmen.
That was unbelievable. And that was during my 2005 tour, where the Air Force, to their great credit, maintained the 332nd Air Wing, which is the home of the Tuskegee Airmen. And they brought some original Tuskegee Airmen to Balad as a morale booster. And to take a picture with these guys who served in World War II, aviators, breaking barriers, doing great things for our country when our country at that time may not have appreciated it, was priceless and beyond words. And it really helped me kind of pull together or tie in why service to our veterans is so important. And to know that I'll be able to help those guys, maybe not those guys specifically, but the unsung heroes of World War II, Korea, those who, maybe not in combat, but they trained, they served, they were in harm's way in peacetime or in war, and they deserve the best. And so that's kind of what drives me.
3 tours in Iraq as an acute care and trauma surgeon have given Dr. Marshall a deep respect and a sense of camaraderie with his fellow veterans.
The first tour was in 2005, and that was at LSA Anaconda Balad. That was probably the more intense of the 3 tours, and I was at the hospital there in Balad. As my specialty is trauma and critical care, so this was for me. This was the environment that I've trained for. So I learned a lot, but it was a humbling experience because I knew that on the other end of this great trauma experience was an American soldier, and so it was probably the best medical surgical experience I've ever had, and then I can take what I've learned and then help veterans here at the VA in terms of acute care surgery. When they have surgical emergencies, I can still use some of those techniques here when there are surgical emergencies.
Dr. Marshall strongly believes in the care veterans are receiving today from VA.
The VA is not what it was 10 years ago. When I was in training here as a resident, I can tell you from historically, and that was in '97. It's not what it was in '97. It's a much better place. And I think it's getting better every day. I think the VA wakes up every day saying, how do we get better? And I think they're doing the necessary things to make that so. And I want to be a part of that.
Dr. Marshall says, at the end of the day, he simply loves working where he's needed and where he's appreciated.
I like the immediacy of it. I like being able to treat something, see the results, see the patient get better. The highs are high and the lows are low. But at the end of the day, it's kind of what I enjoy. the being able to reach into someone's body, move my hands around, and hopefully make them better.
Thanks for watching this edition of Still Serving. I'm Dwayne Wingfield.